Before he ran the most powerful empire on earth, he was thrown into a pit and sold for 20 pieces of silver by his own brothers. This is the story of Joseph. Because years before disaster struck, this forgotten prisoner predicted a famine that would starve an entire region, and he built the plan that carried millions of people through it. It starts with a dream, where young Joseph sees 11 sheaves of grain bowing low before his own. He makes the mistake of telling his jealous brothers about it. They already resented their father's favorite, and now they snap. The brothers tear off his famous robe, throw him into a dry well, and sell him to a passing merchant caravan. That caravan drags him 600 miles into Egypt, where he is sold again as a household slave, a young man with no name, no family, and no future. Then it gets worse, because a false accusation lands him in Pharaoh's prison. It was the kind of place that men entered quietly and almost never walked out of again. But watch what he does there, because instead of breaking, Joseph starts organizing the entire prison, managing supplies, rationing grain, and running the place better than the warden could. At night, the dreams return, though this time they belong to other prisoners. Joseph interprets them with an accuracy so striking that it quietly builds him a dangerous reputation. Here is the part most people miss. Those years in chains were training. Logistics, management, reading people under pressure. Every skill he would need later was forged in darkness. Then one night, Pharaoh himself wakes in a cold sweat, haunted by 7 fat cows devoured by starving ones, and 7 full ears of grain swallowed by withered husks. Not one advisor in all of Egypt can explain the vision, until someone finally remembers a Hebrew prisoner who reads dreams. Joseph is pulled from his cell and marched straight to the throne. His interpretation is fearless. 7 years of record harvests are coming, followed by 7 years of famine so brutal that the good times will be erased from living memory. Then he does something no prisoner should ever dare, and proposes the solution. Store 1/5 of every harvest during the plenty, so Egypt survives when the fields die. Pharaoh does not just accept the plan, he hands Joseph the entire operation, the signet ring, the royal linen, the second chariot. A forgotten prisoner becomes prime minister overnight. And here is the lesson hiding in plain sight. The plan was built during the good years, when harvests overflowed and saving looked completely pointless to everyone else watching. He built a system instead of a pile, storing grain across dozens of separate cities, measured by scribes and sealed, until there was so much they stopped counting it. Notice what he did not do. He never once celebrated early, and he refused to touch the reserves through 7 straight years of overflowing abundance. That discipline never cracked. Spreading the stores across many cities was deliberate risk management, because if one storehouse flooded or burned, the nation would still eat. Never centralize what you cannot afford to lose. Joseph did not guard every granary personally either. He appointed overseers and built processes that ran without him. A plan that needs you every single day is not a system. Then, exactly as predicted, the famine arrives, and it is merciless. Rivers shrink, fields crack open, every harvest fails, and the surrounding nations begin to slowly, quietly starve. Every country goes hungry except one, because Egypt's storehouses open exactly on schedule. The nation that planned during the plenty becomes the only place on earth still selling grain. Caravans stream in from every direction, desperate to buy food from the man who saw this coming. And among those starving travelers are 10 men Joseph knows painfully well. His own brothers, the very same men who threw him into that pit, now stand before Egypt's governor begging for grain, with absolutely no idea at all who they are talking to. And then they bow down low, 11 sheaves bending before his own. The exact dream that once got him thrown into that pit is playing out 20 years later. Joseph could do anything to them now, and they are completely at his mercy. Instead, he clears the room, breaks down in tears, and tells them exactly who he is. There is no revenge and no punishment, only one stunning sentence. You meant it for evil, but it was turned to good. Then he feeds the family that sold him. Because Joseph understood something most people never learn, bitterness is a cost, not a consequence. Carrying that grudge would have poisoned everything he had spent 20 years quietly building. So strip away the ancient setting, and 4 principles remain. Skills built in hard seasons are never wasted, and real preparation happens during the surplus. Never once the shortage arrives. Build systems that run without you, and spread your reserves so a single failure cannot sink you. That playbook was written thousands of years ago, and most people still ignore it. From the bottom of a pit to the right hand of Pharaoh, all because he prepared while everyone else celebrated. Subscribe for more ancient stories with modern lessons every single week.